or early Saturday, depending on where you are. Hope you are having a great start to your weekend. Hopefully. We're not quite there. We're almost there. So close. But we are ready to talk about Duskfall a bit more today. So today's plan is we're going to talk about the season structure. I know we normally do this at the beginning of all of our preview weeks, but we had some scheduling conflicts with people being out of the office today. So PGCoffee gets to come hang with us on stream.
It took the lore away from me, though. A little disappointed with. How'd they do with the lore?
I want to say they did well. I watched part
of that stream. The answer was they didn't do it.
I watched part of that stream. I didn't watch it. It's on my day off. I don't always watch the Twitch stream.
They didn't. All right.
I was getting my dog. She got groomed. I was enjoying how cute she looks.
Okay. That's fine. The lore. All right. I get to do the lore next time. It's not the same.
Not the same without the lore. So today's giveaway is going to be 1,000 breeding tokens. Make sure to put your in-game name into chat. And as always, winners will get their prize Sunday or Monday. This week it will probably be Sunday because Monday is a holiday. So I don't really want to be sending that out on Monday if I don't have to. So we have double XP going through the end of the season. Yep. The season does end next week. So make sure if you want that double XP on your Summer Flare Dragons that you are doing all of your runs with them now so you can get as much XP as you want.
Season will end Tuesday at midnight. As with past seasons, we always extend the length of the result phase of the final event till midnight. So any last second sigil spending, etc., that last prize, get it in before midnight. Because then we say farewell to Summer Flare. But we say hello to Duskfall.
There's nothing good for hello for
I think we'll come up with something. We'll come up with something.
We'll bug Reeve. I'm sure he'll come up. I'm sure he will. So, speaking of sigils, Super Sigil chests are live right now. They will be live through the end of the season as well. And right now, they have a chance of a 5,000 sigil drop. I can totally say I have not been lucky enough yet to get a 5,000 sigil drop. Love it. But there have been a lot of people who have, and I've seen it pop up on the forum, so it is there.
It's a lot of prizes.
There's totally a chance. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of prizes if you get it.
A lot of prizes.
All right, so let us jump into Duskfall. Bam! You can read the intro poem.
Did someone already do this?
Yes, but you can reread it.
I'm going to read it better, though. A nightmarish masquerade ball with dragons and riders for all. There will be much death from fiery breath. It's our pleasure to bring you Duskfall.
Bam.
Oh, such a nice contrast to what we had for Summer Flare.
It really is.
The art style, the theme, just complete difference
of
historic shift. I love it. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to introduce the dragons this time, but I had to share the fun with everyone else because certainly that's the most fun part of the season. I know. PGCoffee liked to hoard it for himself before, but not this season.
Someone came up with one, ready to have a ball with Duskfall.
There you go. I like that one even better. Let's have a ball with Duskfall, shall we? Yeah, and we'll go over the spells again today, but I don't get the pleasure of unveiling them the same way.
No.
All right, so week 1 at this point, I think, is not surprising whatsoever. We have our warrior, which will be discounted 50%, just as past seasons for the first 2 weeks. Then we have the sorcerer, and then we have the mythic hunter, who I think a lot of people are very excited about, and rightly so. You see the prices up there of the total branch. Now, the 2 legendaries will go up to Vanguard tier this time, and then the egg token boost, same as this season, 100% and 125%.
Yep.
That was a fun one this season. I definitely got it. It was
Nice.
Yeah, it's just, it just makes you get a lot more value from those daily missions. So yeah, week one I don't think is going to be a big surprise to anyone, and you've already seen all the dragons. They're pretty damn awesome this season.
They really are.
So I've been enjoying reading all the buzz on the forums about it and people's reviews of it, and yeah, we're really looking forward to the start of the season. A lot of the work that we put into season start this season for Duskfall is to try and improve the UI, the display. We felt that in last season in particular, it was very hard for newer players to understand the season. I think this has been a problem for a while. I have spent so long with seasons that it's sort of second nature to me at this point. But I, at some point, lose an appreciation for new players coming into our game and them trying to understand seasons. And we rely so much on our forums and other players on teams to explain seasons adequately to our players. But it can be very confusing if you're a new player coming in.
Yeah.
So this season, we tried to pull out some of the rules that made things more confusing. So that's why we've gone to this very simple, just triangle structure. And then we also are going to have a clear infographic, which you'll be able to access at any point within the season from the season menu that will display the overall structure of the season and also a little more of a description as to what seasons is. Hopefully for newer players, that will help them understand what's going on.
Yep.
Additionally, we're going to have preview videos of dragons for the first time. Actually, I think we did it once before, but we'll have them for every single dragon in their branch, so you get to see the dragon in flight, which, you know.
I saw some of those videos today, and they look pretty great.
For our players who are here watching the stream, they already will be able to see the dragons flying. But if you are a player who doesn't watch the stream, you are less likely to know what the dragons look like in flight and what their spells look like. So I think that's going to be great for, again, a lot of our newer players or players who don't get to see their teammates flying the dragons or get to see the dragons on stream. So you'll see some of those changes when the season launches next week.
Yeah. All right. Go to week 3.
All right, so week 3, we again have a dragon rider. It'll be an offensive dragon rider, attacking dragon rider, put on your dragon. And yeah, again, discounted dragon rider. Arelyna's head is in front of the price, but it's the same as it was past seasons. Again, the discount will be the first half of the branch. It'll be 50% off. So the behavior here is very similar to last season and the season before. It'll be a 2-week-long discount that starts in week 3, and it will be an attacking dragon rider. And I don't think we're announcing the element quite yet. I know that's often a question we get, but when we do the preview, the dragon rider is really cool. The dragon rider will have a portrait in its branch that matches the rider. I'm not going to reveal anything about it, but it definitely matches the theme of the season. And I from what I've seen, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But our dragon riders are always pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's week 3. So again, I don't think anything new if you've been participating in the last couple seasons.
Damn. Week
All
7.
right, week 7, things get a little different. So it's my pleasure to talk about the fact that we're going to have 2 mythic dragons this season. So we're going to have a second rider in the season, but we're actually going to have 2 mythic dragons. So we will have a mythic warrior, and then a legendary hunter and a rider. That are the 2 parts of that branch that you need to claim in order to get the mythic warrior. So the hunter will be the same price as the other 2 legendary dragons, whereas the rider will be the same price as the overall branch will be the same price as the discount rider. And then you'll have a mythic warrior. Now, again, we're not going to talk about elements or spells, but it's a mythic warrior. This season will be our first season with 2 mythic dragons. I'm pretty excited about this. I have not had a chance to play with this mythic warrior yet, but we will see. We'll see how it stacks up against the mythic hunter. But the mythic hunter is going to be pretty tough to beat. But yeah, this will be coming week 7. So in past seasons, we've done this week 6. This season, we're doing it week 7. Part of the reason is due to the festive dragon lineup that's going to come that I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, this will be coming on week 7. We'll have our second mythic dragon of the season, as well as a hunter. All right, and then the final stage is our festive dragon. So this is week 9. Some of you who figure out what week 9 means, that's Halloween time, which we identified as well. And I think you will recognize the festive dragon. But we're really excited to do a fun Halloween event with our festive dragon, and Halloween happening with an event during that time, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with that so I'm really looking forward to that. We pushed the festive dragon instead of week 8 to be week 9, so it can line up exactly with Halloween, because I think that's gonna be just a really fun thing for our community, and there's a lot of interesting ways we are going to explore that this year. So that is Duskfall, the season in its entirety. The 4 different releases that we're going to have during the season. It's very similar to Summer Flare season, with the exception of the mythic switching, and that we have a second myth, which is a big deal for this season. And of course, there's no veteran rider in this season.
Yep.
All right.
We have a pretty chart.
This is the pretty chart. Players will be able to see this very easily. This is what I was talking about in sort of we call it an infographic. But players will be able to access this from the menu readily, and you will be able to see this whenever you want. And we will update it throughout the season so that players can easily understand, okay, what's happening, what's coming next, because we really want people to be able to comprehend the different structures, and especially players who don't follow the stream. If you're on the stream, you're probably pretty well versed in what's going on. If you're not following the stream though, or if you have teammates that aren't, you can always refer them to this. There'll be a nice little information icon in seasons that they can look at and pretty easily tell what is in the season, what's coming up, and make their decisions accordingly. All right, should we take some questions at this point?
Sure.
Okay, so I saw 31,000. So the legendary dragons are now Vanguard level. So they have added a whole nother tier, and that's why. So last season they were Harbinger level, this season they're Vanguard level. And this is what we've done in the past when we add a whole nother tier, because Vanguard dragons are even more powerful than Harbinger dragons. The festive dragon. Can we answer that question about the festive dragon?
We can.
We can. All right.
We had this discussion earlier this week. We were totally fine talking about it.
All right. Well, I think that a lot of you would have already guessed that, but we did design a dragon on the Twitch stream earlier in the summer, and it was thematically pretty awesome and also a little spooky. So certainly the festive dragon is going to be that dragon. And that's going to launch on Halloween, and it's going to be a fun Halloween celebration in the game. So that dragon, like the dragon this season, Axie will go from red to Vanguard, just like Axie went from Harbinger.
Yep.
So it'll be a fun way for everyone to participate in this really amazing dragon that our Twitch community helped build.
All right, let's move on. Bam. Cavaleris.
So we're going to walk through the dragons again, although I think a lot of you may have already seen them or gone through them. So Cavaleris is our warrior that is 50% off for the first 2 weeks of the season. So this is the whole branch, 50% off. It's Earth Element Warrior. They went over the spells earlier, but we can walk through them again today if you want to go to that next.
Ta-da.
Awesome. So Arcane Aegis. We say Aegis.
It's cool. I do it all the time.
Blocks all incoming damage, absorbs mage super shots. Very powerful as a lead dragon, sort of taking down those mages. Again, regenerate, restoring health over time, and Warcry. We've seen Warcry before as something that's great to have on a lead dragon, because you can set up your following dragon. So this dragon clearly designed, and then of course you have Ice Flak Resist.
Yep.
Clearly designed as a lead warrior. what did people think about it on the stream yesterday? The spell set.
Definitely finding it an interesting spell set. Arcane Aegis has an interesting interaction with super shots, so it can build that interesting interaction with a defender. I have flown this dragon, not as much as I would love to, but I've flown it. It'll definitely be interesting to see how people choose to use this dragon.
I don't think it will be as powerful as like this is my solo dragon that I use to just clear
it's definitely
bases.
Gonna be
But as far as war dragons go, like a lead war dragon, I think Arcane could be a big powerful spell for people when they're trying to do their war attacks and with teammates.
All right, let's look at our portraits in Cavaleris' branch. So we have the Masked Duelist. I like that he was really having a lovely dance there.
Yeah, the Masked Duelist. Again, were they able to get the video, the animated portraits up?
No, we weren't able to.
Anyway, the animated always add an extra element to these. But the Masked Duelists, very terrifying. I think we talked about these already, but this will be on the Cavaleris branch, so this will be on the discount branch. The masks, of course, are obviously a theme. It's a bit of a masquerade season, if you will. I think that was part of the unintentional leak that we had go out Tuesday night about the Duskfall season, but clearly the masquerade theme is coming through pretty loud and clear. So we have the Masked Duelists as the portrait in the Cavaleris branch. So there will be 4 stages to this portrait, as there have been with past portraits. The portrait prize itself will be free, as with past seasons. And of course, there will be, I guess I didn't mention, there will be runes and glyphs for that specific dragon, designed for that dragon on the branch. Again, same as it was last season and the season before.
All right, let us go to our next Masked Duelist.
Yes, so we see
it's an entirely different jacket.
Love the jacket growth. You know, this.
You need more length when you're gonna battle someone. You're gonna duel someone. So you gotta be extra fancy.
It's just like adding an extra degree of difficulty. Too. Yeah. Well, I just wish they had more feathers. Summer Flare was the season of feathers.
Are we sure they were feathers?
They certainly weren't bananas. And then, of course, the magical Masked Duelist
then just becomes all glowing and all beautiful.
Let's see.
All right, let's see. So then we have got Sylphin.
Sylphin the Sorcerer. So Sylphin is the other legendary dragon that launches at the start of the season. Again, it's a similar branch style to past seasons. It will have a portrait in it. It will have runes. It will have glyphs, and it will go up to Vanguard level, and it will be the wind element.
Yep, sorry. I am multitasking, so if I'm slow moving.
So Sylphin has 4 spells. Again, I think a lot of you who are on this stream right now already watched our last 2 streams or been on the forum to sort of get an idea of what the spell sets are going to be. But for Sylphin, Ethereal Chains, disabling towers in target area, Death Stare, that's really powerful white spell, just destroying a building entirely. We've seen this on a number of different dragons. It's always a very popular spell. Mark of Twilight, blocking damage and mage super shots, and then exploding and applying rage marks to towers. And finally, Elemental Resist, probably the most powerful resist we've ever had. 50% damage reduction against all elemental attacks. That's pretty insane.
Yep.
I think of the first 2 dragons, I will probably go for Sylphin, because I just think this is a pretty fantastic kit. Also, I've just really liked Death Stare as a white spell. Just a white nuke is pretty nice to have on any dragon. And then Elemental Resist. We'll have to see how it works in practice, but in the test flights, it's been quite strong. So I think that the combo on this dragon is pretty good, and Death Stare allows you to quickly nuke those towers could otherwise drain your rage. Awesome.
Cool
So
stuff.
Sylphin's portrait, of course, since we already went over the portraits the other day, is the Masked Jester.
I want those heels.
So Masked Jester is going to be on the Sylphin branch. Again, it'll have 4 levels. We'll walk through them now. There's going to be 3 static, and the 4th is animated. Those prizes will be free. And then there will also be the runes that are specific to the Sylphin branch. I don't have those runes on here now, but there will be runes and glyphs for that dragon.
All of the rune and glyph information, as well as the rage costs and cooldowns for these dragons, will be available on our blog. If it's a spell that already exists in the game, like Regenerate and Warcry, those will still have the same cooldowns and rage costs that the spells already currently have. It's just the new spells that we will reveal their rage costs and everything during next week on Tuesday. Masked Jester.
I know, and here we have the mask getting a little crazy, a little out of control.
A little much there.
Maybe some feathers. No, not feathers. Maybe feathers?
They're not quite feathers. They're like, I don't quite know what to call them.
Yeah. The most amazing thing about the Jester, of course, is the shoes, as has been pointed out before.
The feathers on those shoes, those are feathers, and that's awesome.
I could see people rocking those shoes nowadays in San Francisco. I think those shoes would do quite well, actually. I think I may have seen someone wearing those shoes in San Francisco.
Oh, I was going to say, I definitely know a person who has, like, feathers like that on their ice skates, which is really interesting, because they compete with those. It's an interesting look, I'll give you that.
Yeah. All right, so we have level 2, and then finally level 3, you get the bling and the magical bling.
You get the magic bling, you get the even more intense mask. So, kind of sad the shoes didn't change this time. The shoes should have gotten like some magical bling
get any
too.
Bling on the shoes. I'll have to follow up with the art team about that. I feel like there should be shoe bling, but I don't know how the magical jester could possibly leap with heels.
Yeah, I got nothing. I have enough issues running in heels. I can only imagine how jumping off of a building and praying you don't die in heels would be.
I guess that's what makes them so talented.
Accurate.
All right, and then our final dragon at launch is going to be Pathix, a hunter and wind element. Oh, Pathox.
I got corrected earlier.
That's good. That's good. You got to give me one. Although this season much better than last season.
Oh, thank goodness.
Last season.
And the season before that.
And the season before that. I know.
Let's
they
be
really
real.
took it easy on us this season.
Abron. Let us all remember Abron and No Leg. That was rough.
Pathox is our mythic hunter that will be on top of that branch that players will need to acquire both of the other legendary dragons in order to unlock the Pathox branch. Pathox is going to be wind element hunter that goes up to mythic, and it'll cap out at mythic at Vanguard mythic strength as opposed to Vanguard legendary strength. But there's some more details about it. So the Pathox spells, of course, 2 white spells. That's pretty cool. Crippling Chill, so briefly freezing and damaging buildings in an area, and then Spectral Form, cloaking and rapidly regenerating rage and ammo, and also being able to cast spells without uncloaking. And it's white.
Yeah.
And then Soul Devour, while active, gain health and rage for each tower destroyed. And finally, Death's Door, that's in front of it, but fireball attacks cause towers to take increased damage from, I assume that says all sources. Your head's in the way a little. Yeah, that says all sources.
I'll just completely disappear and become a headless person in the stream.
Yeah, so I think clearly a very powerful mythic. The video of this looks pretty cool when you get to watch Pathox go up against some really tough towers and approaching islands, and it's a damn strong dragon. Not to mention pretty good looking dragon.
It really is.
I have to say.
kind of great. All right, let us go back to the season structure, and we need to duck.
Okay.
So a request from. Right. I'm gonna just push myself out of the frame.
So I can't figure it out. Okay, so at the start of the season,
PGCoffee can't handle it.
At the start of the season, we launch with our Warrior and Sorcerer legendary dragons. The Warrior will be the discount dragon for this season. They'll both go up to Vanguard tier, 31,000 sigils. The Mythic Hunter will be 25,000 sigils, also go up to Vanguard tier. Pathex is the Mythic Hunter. We also have the Egg Token boost. This will be the same as it was Summer Flare season, so the same price and bonus if you are interested in the Egg Token boost. So these will be the 4 that will launch together at the start of the season. Then, week 3, we have the Dragon Rider that launches. We won't talk about the element yet, but it will be an offensive rider. And this rider will be discounted, same as in past seasons. It'll be 25,000 sigils for the entire branch, but for the 2 weeks, the first half of the branch will be discounted if you want to pick up the rider. The rider is very cool, themed after the season. Then in week 7, we will launch the second wave of dragons for the season, as well as the second rider of the season. So the second rider will be offensive, and the rider and hunter will be the 2 branches before the second mythic dragon of the season, the Mythic Hunter. Mythic Warrior. Sorry, I don't know.
Changing it up here.
So this is our first time ever having 2 mythic dragons in a season. Could be really exciting. Again, I don't have a lot of info about the Mythic Warrior yet, but we will definitely be doing previews of that leading up to it. So the Mythic Warrior is the sort of last dragon launched to this. Sorry, not the last dragon. The second wave of dragons for the season. And then finally in week 9, conveniently Halloween, we will be launching the Festive Dragon, which you all have already seen because, well,
yep.
you saw the initial design.
You saw the initial design.
I've had the pleasure of seeing what that's turned into, and it's pretty damn cool.
It looks pretty great.
And that Festive Dragon will launch in week 9 with a little Halloween festival, and that will start at Red tier, go up to Vanguard tier. The portraits will be in the Warrior branch, the Sorcerer branch, the Hunter branch, and both Rider branches this season will have a portrait in it. The Festive Dragon will not have a portrait, and the Mythics will not have portraits. So that's our season structure. And PGCoffee, touch your toes. I can't touch my toes. That's that's something I'm very sensitive about. I'm very inflexible. And I can't believe we brought that up on stream right now. It's
Don't
actually
look at me.
impossible.
I didn't bring it up.
Yeah, I'm really stoked about this season. I haven't. Part of the reason I didn't go on stream is that I launched Temple Raid last week, which was very exciting, but definitely exhausting. So I didn't get as much time to participate in the season presentation prep, etc. But you need to complete both pages to get Vanguard. Yes, we're not doing the... So what happened this season is we said if you complete one, you get to go halfway through the branch. Unfortunately, while some players took advantage of this, we had a much larger number of players who were very confused by this, and it led to a lot of ticket volume, as we call it, and we just didn't do a very good job explaining it. So this season we're trying to do a better job explaining. We're putting a lot of work into clearly explaining the structure, giving people previews. It's something I like. It's something I want to reintroduce. We just need to figure out how to explain this better from a UI UX perspective, because this season it led to a lot more confusion for our players than I would have liked, and I think it detracted from the season experience for some of our players. Our players watching this stream are the very educated players who I think about when I build stuff like that, and I think appreciated that. But it was very difficult. It was more difficult to explain than I expected to our players through our normal UI. Now we're improving that this season, and I hope that for the following season we'll be able to re-implement that in a way that makes sense and in a way that our players can understand.
All right. Here is your list of questions on this side for you.
Awesome. Let's see. The Festive Dragon is the Twitch dragon that you all developed. Why doesn't the in-game prize structure? Oh, the infographic structure includes the class. Yeah, I suppose that's something that we could put on there. That's not something we've put on from a design perspective right now. But I don't see a reason not to. We're still doing our final edits on that. I think that's a very good suggestion. Why does the Mythic Dragon not get a special portrait in its line? So we have decided that I think portraits are something that if a player really likes a portrait and we put out these really amazing portraits, they should reasonably be able to access it. So that's why the first portrait in every line is pretty close to the front. It's also a free prize. And we don't put it up in the Mythic. I really like that because I like to collect all the portraits from a season because I think they're really cool, but I don't want to go all the way in to get the animated version of every portrait, so I'll usually just go in and get the first version of every single portrait because I like having it, and I think they're really, really cool. And if we do that, if we put one in a Mythic, then we wouldn't be able to do that. So we're not going to try that for this season, maybe in the future, but I like the portraits being accessible to all of our players.
Yeah.
The animated portraits, of course, are difficult to get because they're at the end of branches, and I think those are very differentiated for people and also the premier portraits of the season. But good question.
There are two questions that are directed at me. So, when will the value packs be sent out to the winner of the of the summit contest? Hopefully in the next week or so. That is my plan. You'll see it from me if it does get sent out. Are feather skates better than regular skates when fighting Wheatsy? Oh man, that came back in a rip-roaring way. I don't actually know. I'll have to get back to you on that. What Disney creature will this season focus on killing? Spring was deer, summer was birds. What are we killing this season?
That's a good question. I think it might be people.
I feel like it's people.
I mean, if you look at these, every time I see these masquerades, I always think of some sort of murder mystery when I see masquerades.
Yeah.
That's just like immediately where my mind goes. It's just assassins and murder mystery type environment. So it just seems like it's just they're all at this party, dragons and people together, and it's a masquerade. I don't know how you wouldn't know. I don't know how dragons can disguise themselves. Indulge me here. Everyone's disguised. It's a masquerade. Every time I see like a representation of a masquerade, I always think I can still tell who everyone is. Like, who is confused when you have the little mask on your face? I don't really get that. Maybe someone can fill me in. But they're all at this masquerade party, and then suddenly there's a scream, and someone has died. And then there's some sort of mystery behind it as to who murdered them. Probably the masked jester. I don't know. There's some other suspects this season that I think are equally suspicious. Maybe at the end of the season we'll be able to know who is responsible. But only time will tell. All right. Is the second rider a veteran rider? No. Second rider is a regular rider, so there are two riders. They're both going to be comparable. It's an offensive rider. There is no veteran rider this season. So both riders are the same. Again, last season we did some funky stuff with making the rider accessible to everyone, but the second half was the veteran gear. Again, I think that led to a lot of player confusion, and that's not something we want. So this season, very simple. There's the rider and its gear, and if you complete that branch as well as the legendary hunter branch, then you unlock the warrior. When are the Mythic Vanguards coming out? So they will be coming out this season at some point. Yep. But I'm not going to set a date of when they're coming out. But I know they are hard at work on those, and they will be coming out this season. Cool. What else do we have? The rewards are increased for this season to reflect the increased price. Absolutely. I mean, the value of the prizes in season rewards per sigil is, I mean, it's pretty huge in terms of, especially when you get to those later prizes, in terms of the amount of tokens you get and chests you get. I'm sure all of you recognize that those prizes are quite valuable in terms of the amount of stuff you get for your sigils. So yes, when we increase the price of the branch to allow for an additional stone, we also do add in more value into the branch too. Okay, PGCoffee rage cost. My rage, it's actually pretty expensive. I don't go into rage modes very often. I'm pretty calm most of the time, unless there are some pretty big fires going on. But I think my rage cost is pretty high. I haven't activated that in a while, actually. Sorry, a little sarcastic.
It's all good.
Is the plan to no longer have a veteran riders, or is this a one-season thing? Good question. I think that we're trying this out this season. I liked the veteran riders. I think as more players are getting introduced to Atlas, it's led to a little confusion as to where the veteran riders should fit in with the Atlas riders. And I also sort of want that to sort itself out. You know, we just had a bunch more players go into Atlas. I don't know if more are on the way. I'm not connected with that part of the game very well, but I do know that the riders are a really important part of Atlas.
Definitely.
And I think the veteran riders have led to some confusion in that respect, whereas the regular season riders are sort of a nice thematic way we can add to this season, and we also want them to be very accessible to all of our players. So I liked the veteran rider, but given where Atlas has gone and how core riders are to that and the new riders they're introducing there, I don't want there to be sort of a competing rider system. I think that the season riders are supposed to be very fun and accessible to our players, and I think the discount dragon riders really hit that tone, and so that's one of the reasons we've put this second rider down at the accessible to everyone.
I quite like that someone was saying that I didn't look very pleased that there was not a dragon like Kirin and Axie. There are, other than Pathox, there is another dragon that I think looks amazing. So yes, there is a cooler looking dragon than Pathox. It is definitely subjective of who thinks what is cool. Like, Coffee and I don't frequently agree on which dragons we think look super cool.
It's more of a scariness factor. That
you have the scary factor. I just am like, would I want to see this all the time, or am I just like, nah,
right.
Like, I'm good.
Well, I think, again, we're going to have videos of the dragons flying so people can get an idea of how they look flying, because that's really, I mean, you see them in your den, but you also see them flying, and most of your time is spent looking at flying. So I think that will help people get an idea of what they feel. They like the vibe of it, how it looks. I mean, 4 is my favorite dragon that I use all the time.
I use 4 all the time too.
Yeah, I'm a super strong dragon. But I really also appreciate the way it looks and the way its spells feel and the VFX associated with it.
So there is not, that comment was not trying, Coffee was not being sarcastic and dodging the question. It is merely that we already answered the question earlier in the stream, that on these streams we don't actually give rage costs for these dragons. We do it on our blog, which comes out Tuesday. So please be aware of that. They will come.
You're welcome. I mean, I wish I could answer some of the questions. Part of the reason we don't answer them today is there is still some final balancing, and we don't want to give you misinformation. So I would love to come out and tell you all the rage costs right now, but you'll have to wait till Tuesday, unfortunately, in order to get the final costs and parameters for these spells. I know it's something that's really important when you make your decision, and trust me, we spend a lot of time talking about them, but I'm not going to be able to reveal them on this stream. So you'll have to wait a little bit longer, but you'll get there.
Do Chimeric and Moonfang have siblings or twins? Because those dragons are awesome. As far as I know, they don't, but if they do, it would be a very weird looking sibling.
As for the question about the prizes, so it's still 56 prizes in the branch, and yes, the branch cost has gone up, but we increase the value in the branch. So the amount of egg tokens, the amount of gold chests you get, the amount of rune dust you get, the amount of other bonuses you get in that branch go up accordingly. So yes, it's still just 2 pages, but you will see increased value within the branch as well.
Is the Aegis spell like a white invincibility shield? I want to say that PG Reeve and Lawson answered this question in the Facebook stream yesterday, and I'm totally drawing a blank on that right now. So for spell-specific questions, it might behoove you to go back and look at the stream yesterday. Because, again, I am drawing. Sorry. It happens. Will we be doing another double sigil event this season, like what we did with Gauntlet?
Maybe. We don't. I'm not going
to. We really
unveil
have not.
Anything there.
We are still working out things that we plan on doing.
Yes, to be completely honest, right now our whole focus is on season launch. There's a lot of things. I mean, for my team, a lot of the focus was on Temple Raid, which we just launched, and that was a lot of work. And now we're doing a lot of work to gather community feedback and figure out what we want to do next for that event. And then also on launching this season right now, and then preparing. There's a number of this, and then the rider right after that, and then preparing for the next wave of dragons.
Yep.
So we haven't thought towards the end of the season what sort of fun sigil things we might do. We will likely have a promotion similar, if not the same, as Super Sigil at the end of the season. But I can't tell you right now if we're going to do a double sigil event again.
Yeah. Once we decide on what we're doing with that, we totally will let everybody know through social and the forums.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I mean, it definitely. I participated a lot in that event, that Archipelago event or Team Gauntlet event.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Will the mythic warrior or the legendary hunter be the fluffy pink spider for Arelyna? God, I really hope not. But I've seen all the dragons, and I hope there's not a scary spider popping out. The art team just was. Maybe the art team just. There's really a fluffy pink spider in there somewhere. Be unfortunate. I'm really upset. So, what kind of dragon riders are coming out this season?
So both Dragon Riders are offensive riders. I'm not going to give more information than that because the elements are something we'll unveil the week before when we do our Dragon Rider preview, but they're both offensive. They're both, let's call them the regular season riders. So they're the same as Oksana or Kayla from past seasons. Yep. But there's no defensive rider this season.
So for when we have new tower levels, we will let everybody know if you need Vanguard to get those towers, or if we change it, we will let everyone know as soon as we are ready to get there and launch those. But not yet. Let's see. Will there be a base change? Ooh. I don't actually know if we're planning on doing
a fall season reskin. I will tell. That's not my team, but I will talk to the team associated with that. They like to keep those a bit of a surprise, although that sometimes when we turn out the lights a little too dark.
Yeah, that one was a little rough.
Turned off the lights a little far, but yeah, maybe
the dimmer switch went too far.
I'll have to ask them. I often don't even know until they go live with it because they like to keep it a little bit of a surprise and plan
they tell
for the
us.
Season. I know, and they're exciting. I love them. It's nice to see things all look different. And
yeah, I definitely loved last year's fall reskin with the ghost or with the skeleton whale.
Yeah,
that was fabulous. It was great.
Okay, what else? Questions. Are there a male and female rider? I know the gender of the first, but I actually don't know the gender of the second. So I'm not going to speak to that.
I honestly don't know either.
You will have that information when we do the previews. Because I don't know. I can't speak to that because I don't know the gender of this.
Yep.
The next event. So All right. Next week we're going to. Is that bad form? Is that bad form?
Realistically, it is up to you. You are the keeper of the events team, so it is up to you.
Get some food ready. I like to kick off the season with a feeding event because it allows people to their dragons and level them up and feed them, and that's really exciting for me. So,
Well,
are we
dragons have more runes or the same 3 as always?
Same 3. Same 3 as before. I mean, 2 runes and a glyph, I believe. And they're strong. I am sorry I don't have the parameters of them here right now. This is another thing that we have changed before in the last day. And so I, again, do not want to give false information. But as always, they will be strong and really good for that dragon.
Yes, I can ask the Atlas team about resetting Ryder's skills.
And, thank you for liking the temple raid. That was a lot of work, but it has been the most rewarding experience I've had working here. I spent all last weekend playing it and reading the forums, and nothing's made me happier than watching that event. So we have a lot of work to do on it still, but it's been the most rewarding experience for me. So thank you all in the community too for your feedback on this. It's really made my whole year. Okay.
Nix,
can't see the egg token percentages. They are the same as this season.
Nix, I did answer your question if I like the Mythic Warrior. I do. I like its art. I also like the art for the other hunter. Alright, so that's pretty much what we've got today. If there are any other questions that were super pressing that didn't get answered that you really, really want to try and get an answer to, I will make a point to try and get an answer for if you reach out to me on the forums. I cannot guarantee that it will be a fast answer because it is a holiday weekend this weekend, so I am not positive I'm going to be able to get as many people to answer me this weekend, but I will get an answer for you. And make sure that you spend your sigils before midnight next Tuesday. Otherwise, they don't carry over to Duskfall, so you'll just awkwardly have a bunch of Summer Flare sigils if you don't spend them. But yeah, so we will see everyone next week. Next week, we will be showing off the dragons flying, and we will also be doing a 3-stream week. So it will be a Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube gaming. So have a great weekend, everyone, and we hope you're excited for Duskfall.
Happy Duskfall season, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Nice to be on stream again.